Hello, everyone. I'm Sandra Mitchell. Minutes away on KCAL 9. Terrifying moments at LaGuardia Airport in New York. A plane skidded off the snowy runway. Find out what went wrong.
I was poisoned.
An important warning about a popular antibiotic. A local firefighter says he is proof it's a prescription for danger. Josh?
Sandra, we are looking at some very warm temperatures headed into Southern California as we make our way into the weekend. A lot planned. We also are flipping those clocks ahead. Daylight savings is coming. I'll tell you about it.
From the broadcast center in Los Angeles, this is KCAL 9 News at noon. Live, local, late breaking.
Good afternoon. I'm Sandra Mitchell. Our top story on KCAL 9 News at noon. It is breaking news in New York, where a plane skidded off the runway at LaGuardia Airport. You can see right there the plane tore through a chain link fence. It came dangerously close to the icy bay. The accident occurred after another round of snow in that region. KCAL 9's Don Champion has the latest now on the investigation.
Tower, you have an aircraft off 3-1 on the North Vehicle Service Road. Please advise crash rescue.
Delta Flight 1086 skidded off the runway and into a fence at New York's LaGuardia Airport.
Shortly before the incident at approximately 11:05, two planes landed and reported, quote, good braking action on the runways.
This amateur video shows passengers standing on the snowy ground after climbing down a broken wing.
People were very calm and very pleasant, and everybody helped one another.
The plane's nose is clearly visible jutting through the chain link fence.
We thought that we were in the water. Everybody thought it was in the water. Then they opened the back door and all the snow and things fell out.
The FAA says the MD-88 was coming in from Atlanta, landing in stormy weather just after 11 this morning. There were 127 passengers and 5 crew members on board. No one was seriously injured. Authorities say the plane leaked fuel.
There was a minor fuel spill. The fuel for a time was leaking out at a rate of about a gallon a minute.
The incident shut down LaGuardia Airport for a few hours. Delta says it is cooperating with authorities to figure out why this happened. Don Champion, New York.
Well, that big storm back east is having an impact on travel here in LA. Right now, LAX is reporting 36 canceled flights. That apparently includes 12 departures and 24 arrivals. Of course, if you're headed to LAX today, you might want to check with your airline to see if there are any changes. All right, let's talk about this great weather right now. The warm-up is here. Let's check in with Josh because he has all the details. Josh, it's going to get hot.
Yeah, it's going to be a really nice weekend. We've got temperatures getting into the upper 70s and 80s, and there's a lot planned. Now, don't forget, and I'll give you all the info on this, we have our daylight saving time that starts this weekend. I know. Can you believe that's happening already? My goodness. All right, let's take a look at some numbers here. I've got 71 in Chino, Los Alamitos, 72. Pacoima checking in at 74, 72 degrees in Long Beach. As far as the winds go, you're looking at that number there. Not a whole lot happening as far as winds, but we are looking at winds out of the north, which is an indication that we've got that offshore flow kicking in. That's the reason we're going to see some warm temperatures. We'll get a better look at it here on the temperature contour map, and you can see that the beach, the basin, that's where the warm up is. That's because we get that compressional heating. So we are looking at those warm temperatures all weekend long. This is just the beginning, by the way, of the warm up. And as you can see, it's not going to be too windy. We're not going to be looking at any kind of advisories from this system here as we make our way through the next couple of days. But it is going to be one of those weekends where you have to pull out the shorts. You're going to see my knees. Well, we'll have a full forecast for you coming up in just a couple of minutes. For now, it's back to you, Sandy.
All right, Josh, thanks. A developing story right now. A mistrial has been declared in the Jodi Arias case. A Phoenix jury deadlocked on her sentence for killing her lover back in 2008. That means Arias will not face the death penalty. KCAL 9's Danielle Nottingham has reaction to today's decision.
Jodi Arias hugged her defense attorney after the judge revealed a new jury had failed to reach a verdict on whether Arias would live or die for the 2008 killing of her ex-boyfriend Travis Alexander.
Right at this time, the court is declaring a mistrial.
Alexander's family members could be heard sobbing in court. Jurors convicted her of first-degree murder 2 years ago, but deadlocked over Arias's punishment. The second hung jury of 8 women and 4 men deliberated during the retrial for 5 days. Jurors who did not want to show their faces say they fell 1 vote short of handing Arias the death penalty.
The 11 of us strived for justice for Travis, but to no avail. We absolutely feel the penalty should have been death.
A second mistrial over her sentence means Arias no longer faces the death penalty under Arizona law. Instead, a judge will now determine if Arias serves life in prison or gets a chance of release after 25 years.
The fact that it was a hung jury, as I mentioned, is frustrating.
During Arias's 4-month sentencing retrial, her defense attorney used a new strategy to spare Arias's life, arguing the 34-year-old is mentally ill with borderline personality disorder.
I don't think today's victory will repair any sadness or change anything, but we hope it can begin the closure process for all those who were affected by that tragedy.
The judge is scheduled to sentence Arias April 13th. Danielle Nottingham, KCAL 9 News.
More developing news right now. Police in San Gabriel are investigating the shooting death of a woman. The scene is in the 5100 block of Rosemead Boulevard. Officers say they got a call about 6:45 this morning that someone had been shot in an apartment complex there. Police are investigating. They say they think they know who the suspect is, but that person has not been caught. Another deadly shooting involving the LAPD. Officers were chasing a stolen car suspect overnight. They say he was shot and killed when he rammed a police car. That pursuit started in North Hollywood very early this morning. It ended in Burbank near National and Evergreen. KCAL 9's Cara Finstrom is there live with more on the shooting, and Cara, some new details on the driver as well.
Dozens of force investigators sealed off this Burbank cul-de-sac. They say a high-speed chase ended here when 2 officers cornered a stolen car. It collided into the passenger side of the police cruiser, and the suspect and an officer ended up face-to-face.
Very, very close proximity to each other.
That's when Sergeant Frank Preciado says an officer-involved shooting took place.
The passenger officer withdrew his firearm and fired at the suspect. The suspect exited his vehicle.
Preciado says the suspect didn't get further than about 200 feet before paramedics had to be called, and he was pronounced dead.
They came straight down here.
Now investigators are talking with witnesses like Britta Hamrick, piecing together what happened. They say the pursuit started at about 1:40 this morning in North Hollywood when 2 patrolling officers spotted a Mercury Sable with paper plates speeding by at about 100 miles per hour. It ended about 6 minutes later in Burbank near Hamrick's house.
I came out, I stood behind my car, and I saw it end here with screeching at the end of this cul-de-sac, and then I heard pop, 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 and I knew that was someone firing.
Police say it's unclear whether the suspect was armed, but that in this case his car may be considered a deadly weapon. They do know that car was stolen from the area around Dodger Stadium 1 week ago. Residents here who live just blocks from Burbank studios are reacting to the violence that so suddenly invaded their neighborhood.
I just hear sirens, and like 10 minutes later, I keep hearing more sirens, and it doesn't stop, and I knew, okay, something's really bad.
And you can see investigators at work behind us here. They have not yet said how many shots were fired. The witness you heard from, Britta Hamrick, tells us she heard a total of 4. Reporting here from Burbank, Cara Finstrom, KCAL 9 News.
Police are asking for help to end a disturbing crime spree in Long Beach. They say a man has been exposing himself to little girls. It happened 6 times in the past month as children walked to school in the mornings. All of the incidents have been in the area between Coronado and Euclid Avenues and from 7th to 10th Streets. Police released this sketch of the flasher. It's not clear how tall he is, though, because he always stays in his car and tries to lure girls to the vehicle. Police say he tried to grab one of the girls, but she got away. Here's a look at the car. It was captured by a security camera, but the picture is just too blurry to make out the license plate. Long Beach police say anybody with information should contact the department. The U.S. ambassador to South Korea is recovering from a vicious attack. A man with a knife slashed his face. KCAL 9's Tina Krause explains how the attack might be linked to joint military exercises.
And I'm bleeding here. I'm bleeding here.
U.S. Ambassador Mark Lippert tried to stop the bleeding after an attacker slashed him with a knife.
Get me to the hospital.
Doctors in South Korea used 80 stitches to close a cut on the diplomat's face after a political protester went after him at a breakfast meeting Thursday in Seoul. Police quickly arrested Kim Ki-young for the attack on the U.S. ambassador to South Korea. Authorities say Kim shouted demands for a unified North and South Korea before slashing Lippert's face and wrist with this kitchen knife. Outside the police station, Kim yelled, "The war exercise must be stopped," apparently referring to the annual joint military exercises the U.S. began this week with South Korea. Secretary of State John Kerry said the U.S. will never be intimidated or deterred by anyone who harms American diplomats. Tina Krause, KCAL 9 News.
One of Ringling Brothers' biggest attractions soon will be a thing of the past. The circus just announced it will phase out its elephant acts by 2018. There's been growing concern from animal rights activists about how those animals are treated. Several cities also recently passed new anti-circus and anti-elephant laws. The elephants will be retired to a 200-acre conservation center in Florida. It's a special day for dozens of high school girls. They're getting a chance to pick out prom dresses of their dreams. KCAL 9's Louisa Hodge shows us who's behind these generous donations.
Sequins and satin, beads and bows.
Is this too pink for you?
And a cornucopia of color. Call it the ultimate prom shopping experience. And to make it better, these prom outfits are free.
Prom is expensive. The dresses, heels, that's a lot of money to waste. So I wanted to go to prom, but that was the more obstacle.
Sinai Mendiola was thrilled to learn she was chosen to participate in Operation School Bell Prom Day.
That's pretty.
I think it might look really nice with your hair.
An annual event providing prom dresses, shoes, jewelry, and even makeup tips to specially selected girls from 17 LAUSD schools.
70 students were selected to choose prom dresses. Many of them are homeless, living out of cars and in shelters. Operation School Bell allows them to choose dresses like this from a boutique for the first time.
And being here, seeing this, it seems so unreal to me.
This is getting smaller, so.
Style volunteers helped the girls find their perfect look.
It's so pretty. It's a pleasure. It's something that I didn't even know that things like this could happen. If people could actually do this, and it's generous for people to actually think of other people that, you know, they're fortunate they can have a nice prom or a nice dress.
A gift meant to transform a look, strengthening the fabric for a dream prom night. In Hollywood, Louisa Hodge, KCAL 9 News.
Still ahead, a warning about an antibiotic used by millions.
I was poisoned.
A local firefighter says he is proof that it's a prescription for danger. Plus, a dating app controversy. Wait until you find out how this site weeds out prospects. And Julie Chen from The Talk is here with us today. Her family secrets revealed on Who Do You Think You Are? She'll join us live to talk about what she uncovered on her emotional trip to China. But first, here's today's list for the best of LA and OC. watched a little bit of the clip of the show online.
Oh, you did. Hello, Julie. Hello, hello. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Thank you very much. Sure.
The original founders of Ansan School, the brothers Liu Wutong and Liu Jingzhi, made exclusive investment to establish Ansan Primary School in 1937.
It's impressive.
And it's very impressive.
I feel great pride right now. It's a very proud moment.
That is Julie Chen, host of The Talk on our sister station CBS 2. She took a journey back into her family history. Traveled to China in the latest episode of the hit show, Who Do You Think You Are? Her family has close ties to a wonderful school there, as you just saw. She also met her first cousin. So many other stories to tell you about, including some family secrets that she uncovered. Julie Chen joining us now to talk all about that. Welcome, Julie.
Hi, Sandra. Thanks for having me.
So looking at this, it looks like it was a proud moment for you, but also a little bit emotional.
It was. You know, I had grown up knowing that my maternal grandfather, who I had never met because he died about 10 years before I was born, I knew that when he became successful in Burma, he ended up going back to China to his small village and building a school to provide an education for the less fortunate. He grew up in a time where his father was an important part of the Qing dynasty, and then imperialism. The Qing dynasty was the last dynasty, and that went away, and his father lost his standing. They lost a lot of money. And he didn't get a formal education after that, and he wanted to provide for the people of his small town. So he built this school.
And the school is still there.
That was surprising to me. I didn't know it was still in operation. I didn't know if it was going to be this small, like empty, dilapidated, little schoolhouse, but it was actually the second campus that they have also outgrown, and a third one is opening a new, bigger one right behind it. So to see it in full swing and to see these little children know who my grandfather was, and to have his picture up on the wall in one of the classrooms, it struck a chord with me. It was a proud moment for sure.
You also found out some other things about your grandfather that you didn't expect.
Yes. What I didn't know was what I did know was when he became successful, his mother was kidnapped by these bandits who, of course, wanted, a large ransom for her safe release. The person who was in charge of delivering the money ran off with it, and the bandits ended up murdering his mom. And it was out of that heinous act that my grandfather said, I want to teach the people of my poor village that there is a life beyond leading a criminal life. I want them to get an education. So he did something good out of something so horrific. That I never knew. I just knew that these bandits captured my great-grandmother and she was murdered. I went into this whole journey having an impression of my grandfather as someone who was a self-made man, and when he became very successful, I had revealed earlier on the talk at the beginning of the season a family secret, which was he was a polygamist. He had many wives, he had a whole lot of children, so I kind of had this impression of him as this guy who was living high in the hog. He was a womanizer. I never thought of him as such a philanthropist, and what I learned in this journey was the other side to this man. He was a patriot. He helped supply the Chinese army, not only with goods and supplies, but with arms to fight the Japanese during World War II. And he definitely left his mark on the world. And I feel very fortunate that he was so accomplished because there are not a lot of records in China. If you were to trace my father's side of the family, we probably wouldn't find any documents. But yeah, it helped me understand not just who my grandfather was, but who I am and why I am the way I am today. You know, I have a pretty good work ethic, and I always kind of credited my dad, watching him wake up so early in the morning. He had like a 2.5-hour commute to get to work, and I realize it's from both sides. A lot of it is from my maternal grandfather.
You learned a lot about yourself, and it's very emotional too, and we're going to see all that on Sunday.
Yes.
Thank you, Julie, and congratulations. Just got the sweeps results, and the talk doing very well in February.
Yes, thank you. Thanks,
Congrats.
Sandra.
All right. Again, the episode featuring Julie Chen airs this Sunday. It's 10 o'clock on TLC. Be sure to check out the talk coming up at 1 o'clock on our sister station. It's CBS 2.